Welcome, friends. We are your hosts, Sandy and Wade, baby best friends turned husband and wife and business partners.
This podcast is for the dreamers, the movers and shakers, and those who seek to attract their dream life.
Strap in. Getting magnetic in 3, 2, 1.
Like attracts like. If you see it in your mind, you can hold it in your hand.
You just decide what it's going to be, who you're going to be, how you're going to do it. And then from that point, the universe is going to get out your way.
This moment in time, this is your time to rise.
We've got a legend of the week, aka one of you who wrote an amazing review on Apple. We love reading these reviews. I feel like it's such a great way to start off the week. This is from, let's see, it says Roblox Yay, and the title is So Grateful, and the review says, I am so grateful this podcast was shared with me. I had really been in a rut and knew I needed some personal development support, but felt overwhelmed at the thought of getting into a whole book. My friend shared this podcast, and it could not have been more perfect to get me back to a growth and gratitude perspective. Sandy and Wade are so relatable, and also keep the podcast to sweet, short, and digestible bits. Love starting every day with some words of inspiration and wisdom from Getting Magnetic. Thank you. Wow. Well, thank you for taking the time to write a review. And I'm so grateful that we are able to be a beacon of light when you are in this transformational part of your life, just seeking personal growth.
Yes, grateful we can be a part of your journey, and grateful for you for writing those kind words. We received that, and that's, this is why we do it. And before we get into today's episode, which I'm super excited about, something that just is a big part of our life, I wanted to, so we were working with someone, a consultant, a coach, and he was like, you guys, this 90-day habits journal you have, which we created to help network marketers build their business over a 90-day cycle and really focus on daily building their business, building their mindset. And what you realize is, yes, it's for business, but it ends up like when you're consistent over 90 days, every part of your life starts to flourish, like your relationships, your health, your everything, because you're like, whoa, I'm just going to apply this commitment, these habits to everything. But he's like, oh my gosh, there's so many people using it. This is so cool. And he said, why don't on your next podcast, you offer for anyone out there, if you have a team of over 20 people, offered to do a free training for their team on how to do a 90-day challenge. So if you are out there and you have a team of over 20 and you want to, the first quarter's, has come to an end and we're working on our next 90 days, our next 90-day business cycle. If you want to rally your team around a 90-day business cycle using the 90-day habits journal, Sandy and I would love to come on, would share our story, share how you can utilize it together. So if that's you, send us a DM on Instagram at Getting Magnetic, and we'll connect from there. But with that said, let's get to the show. So we were talking this morning, like, ooh, good idea for a podcast. And it was around generally the law of attraction, which is something that Sandy and I have used in our life and we believe in and have just seen the fruits of it. And really, when it comes down to it in its simplest form, it's like the energy you put out into the world, you receive back. Whatever that is, good, bad, abundant, lack, scarcity, anything, whatever you're putting out there, you're going to receive back. And we've realized that over and over again in our life. And we were like, this is such an important thing because it's probably something we've heard or realized, but assessing like, what energy am I putting out there? Who am I being? Because we don't get what we want or desire. We get what we're being. We get what we're putting out there. And we just picked up the book, The Secret. This is where we first heard the law of attraction. There's a documentary, The Secret. There's a book, The Secret, written by Rhonda Byrne. If you haven't checked out the documentary, The Secret yet, it is life-changing. And of course, it's gonna feel a little woo-woo, a little everything, but you realize like, wow, these teachers are applying these principles and their life is abundant as heck. What can I learn from them?
I love just how simple it is and that thoughts become things. If you're like obsessing over a thought, good or bad, it doesn't matter, like any thought, it's going to find its way to you in some way, shape, or form. And that's why we need to train our brains to be predominantly thinking positively, because I think so often we think of, well, what if this happens, or worst case scenario, or negative, or whatever. And we wonder why we may feel stuck in these cycles. And so many of our thoughts are negative and so many of them are repetitive. And so we have to rewire our brains and mind our mind and focus on what we do want to invite into our life. And so like attracts like. Like if you are conscious of your thoughts and conscious of what you want to manifest, don't be surprised when it comes to you. And it often will even happen faster than you thought. And you'll be like, how did that even happen? It's so crazy how it comes full circle. But it's so true that your brain is a master magnet. Like what you're thinking about, what you're focusing on. You always hear us say, what you focus on grows. What you appreciate appreciates. Thoughts become things. Like all of that is around this topic of the law of attraction.
Yes. And there's discernment, there's distinction. Because at first it's like, okay, let's just use, for example, I want to make $10,000 in a month, let's say. Like, let's say that's you and you're out there and you're like, I want to get to that $10,000 a month mark, or 6 figures a year, whatever it is. The first step is the want, the desire of it. And so you put this idea into your head and you start subconsciously and consciously working towards it. But what you focus on and your resulting emotions and feelings around it are what drives your energy around it. So with that said, let's say you want to make the $10,000 in a month. Is your focus on, I want to make $10,000 a month, but I'm not? There's a gap between where I am and $10,000 a month. There's a lack. I'm not there. I'm lacking this. I'm stressed about bills, or I'm stressed about finance. If I could just have $10,000 a month, it would be all good.
Yeah, if it's coming from desperation, even the word want, like I want this, like poor me, I want this, but I don't know how to get it. It's more like I am the type of person that makes $10,000 a month. Yeah.
So what you focus on grows. If you're focused on, I'm stressed about my bills, I barely have enough to pay my bills, I want to make $10,000 a month. If you're focused on the gap between where you are and that 10,000, what you focus on is going to grow. That gap is going to grow, or it's going to stay the same. You're not going to get any closer, because where you're coming from with that goal of making $10,000 a month is the lack, is the scarcity, versus if you want to make $10,000 a month and you start to think and feel and act and speak the way someone who makes $10,000 a month does, and you're not focused on the distance between where you are and that 10,000, you just start thinking, what is the 10,000 a month version of me doing, saying, thinking, feeling? Are they reading more than they watch Netflix? Are they, diving into leadership podcasts and books? Are they focused on their goal, on the goal at hand? Are they speaking life over the abundance of money in their life coming to them? And they're the type of person who receives money, who is valued at over $10,000 a month. Like, what are your thoughts, feelings, actions? Because ultimately the thought is one thing, but the way you feel, the way your body feels, when you like, for me, it's like, say, do a morning routine, do a meditation, or do some affirmations, or listen to something motivational in the morning. The way I feel is inspired and charged up for the day. And that feeling is what's going to drive me. When I start to read, in The Secret, the money section, or listen to an abundance type YouTube video or something, I start to feel the way of abundance. I start to feel abundance, versus if I'm just focused on like, oh my gosh, I want to make this. There's a gap between where I am. I'm feeling a level of scarcity. So focus on those thoughts, but focus on those feelings. Like, feel the way it feels to make $10,000 a month. How does it feel? And start living into that and make that your reality. And sooner or later, you don't know exactly how it's going to happen. You don't know exactly when it's going to happen, but that 10,000 a month is going to come to you, and you're going to be like, wow, I've already been here. I've been feeling this way for a while.
Yeah. And first of all, this book, The Secret, is a very, very easy read. And if you haven't already read it, I challenge you to order it right now. And you can literally devour this book in a day. It's very simple to read. And it's like, if you understand this and you master this, and this becomes a way of life for you, it can completely transform you. I love this on page 12. The only reason why people do not have what they want is because they are thinking more about what they don't want versus what they do want. Listen to your thoughts and listen to your words you're saying. The law is absolute and there are no mistakes. And then I love this quote by Bob Doyle. He says, the law of attraction doesn't care whether you perceive something to be good or bad, or whether you don't want it or whether you do want it. It's responding to your thoughts. So if you're looking at a mountain of debt, feeling terrible about it, that's a signal you're putting into the universe. I feel really bad because of all of this debt that I've got. You're just affirming it to yourself. You feel it on every level of your being, and that's why you're going to get more of it. So instead of thinking anything around the word debt or, lack of money or not sure how I'm going to pay these bills or blah, 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 flip it into thinking of it as a positive. Like, I'm so grateful for all the money coming to me. I'm so grateful that I'm a money magnet. Money flows freely and effortlessly to and through me. I'm so grateful that I'm adding extra streams of earnings in my life. I'm so happy that I add so much value that money shows up to me. Checks show up unexpectedly. Why are you so grateful? Like, behind the scenes, why are we so grateful? Because it's going to help you with that pile of debt, but you're saying that same thing without saying debt. And if you're focusing on debt, you're attracting more debt. But if you're focusing on the abundance of money, how it's flowing to you, how you're a magnet for that, how you love money and money loves you, all that money magnet type thoughts, then more will flow to you.
100%. Yeah. It's your brain doesn't distinguish the exact words, right? It doesn't hear, I don't want to be in debt. I don't want this. I don't want to be stressed about my bills. It doesn't hear like I do or I don't. It literally just hears stressed about my bills, debt, etc. And what you focus on grows. It's going to keep you in that place. It's going to make more of that place. Versus when you focus on, when it hears I do want, or I do, it doesn't even hear the I do, but financial freedom, abundance, whatever that looks like, prosperity, it's going to focus on that. It's going to focus on bringing you there. And it's the same thing in a relationship or a marriage or your love life. Like when you're focused on what you don't want your partner to be doing, you're magnifying that. You are focused on that. You are exacerbating that. I just want to feel more love. I don't feel loved. There's a gap between the way I feel and what I want, or I don't want them to leave their dishes out, or I don't want them to this or that. Like whatever the things you don't want your spouse to do, when you're focused on those things, what you focus on grows. You're going to see it more often. It's going to keep happening versus when you focus on what you have, what you're grateful for and what you do want. And like in the sense of like, wow, I'm so grateful that I got a kiss before my spouse left for the day, or, whatever it is, or I got that hug, or we were cuddling last night on the couch, or whatever those things are. When you focus on what you're grateful for, you're going to start to see and feel and experience more of that. And again, coming back to the energy you put out there is what you are going to receive. So if you want more love, give more love. Start giving more love. If you want more kisses and hugs, give it more. If you want a clean house, start to give and show and represent that and do it together and inspire them instead of like, tisk tisk, don't do this. It's like, hey, let's do this together. Let's clean our laundry together. Whatever those things are. So start to be that energy, start to be that person, and you will reciprocate that, receive it back.
Yeah. So I think the whole point of all this is just to be aware of your thoughts and know like that you are the master of your thoughts. So even just affirming that to yourself, like, I am the master of my thoughts. I am the master of my thoughts. I am the master of my thoughts. Like, that's so empowering. We all have the power within us to dictate, like, where you are right now in your life, and you've heard us say this, is a physical manifestation of your thoughts previously. 3 months ago, 6 months ago, a year ago, 5 years ago, all of those thoughts compiled together, work together, and that's why you are where you are right now. And that's a great thing because you can always take control of those thoughts and make a change or enhance where you're at pretty quickly. So it's just knowing that what you're giving your energy and attention to is going to turn out into your reality. So it's being very conscious of, gosh, where am I putting my energy? Where am I? What do I spend my time focusing on? What do I spend my time doing? What am I spending my time thinking about? Who do I spend my time talking to, hanging out with? What books am I reading? What am I doing in my spare time? Am I spending hours a day on social media or watching TV? Or am I spending hours a day doing things that are making a difference in other people's lives and make me feel good and help me express my gifts and my talents and things like that?
Yes, coming back to, I just flipped to a page in The Secret to really drive home. I think a lot of people, I think 90+% of the world is like focused on money or the lack of money or wants more money. And it says to attract money, you must focus on wealth. It is impossible to bring more money into your life when you are noticing you do not have enough, because that means you are thinking thoughts that you do not have enough. Focus on not enough money and you will create untold circumstances of not having enough money. You must focus on the abundance of money to bring that to you. You have to emit a new signal with your thoughts, and those thoughts should be that you currently have more than enough. You really do need to call your imagination into play and make believe you already have the money you want. And it is so much fun to do. You will notice as you pretend and play games of having wealth that you feel instantly better about money. And as you feel better about it, it will begin to flow into your life. And really, when it comes down to it, there's great stories in here of just like them, even the author of the book was like broke 10 years, hundreds of thousands in debt. Like her accountants were like, you're going to have to shut down the company in 3 months if you don't turn this around. And she was like, I'll let them do in the numbers and deal in that and focus on that. I'm going to have to shut down and there's not enough and we're running out. And I'm just going to focus on abundance and wealth. And I think that's really when this book and the documentary came to be and absolutely exploded. Now she's like living a life of complete abundance. But you'll have to pick up the book, check out the documentary for that. And really the key to the law of attraction is here. I want you to let you in on a secret to the secret. What is the secret? It's the shortcut to anything you want in life is to be and feel happy now. Focus on radiating out into the universe those feelings of joy and happiness. When you do that, you will attract to you all things that bring you joy and happiness. So it's really about being whatever you want, whatever you think money or love or whatever's going to bring to you. Just start being that, start feeling those feelings. And that's the energy you're going to put out into the universe and you're going to radiate it back to you.
And I want to express too, like, don't get confused or get it twisted and think, that diving into the law of attraction is like a belief system that challenges, maybe whatever religion or whatever you subscribe to. I have plenty of friends that are super religious or have a relationship with, a higher power, whatever it might be, but they also practice the law of attraction. But then I also have friends that are super religious that have stiff-armed, I will not even be open-minded and learn anything about the law of attraction because, that challenges my belief system or blah, blah, blah. Don't think of it like that. Don't think this isn't challenging any belief system. This is law. This is science. There's so much truth in this. Like it is.
It's Newton's third law, right? Which is, science. It's for every action, for everything you put out there, there's an equal and opposite reaction. Everything is energy, right? This table that is holding the microphones for this podcast, it looks like this hard matter, right? But everything is made up of atoms. It's energy. It's a frequency. It's a vibration. So Newton's third law, everything we put out there, and for every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction. We might not see it or feel it right away. If you punch a wall, that's an action, and the reaction will be, oh my gosh, I feel my fist hurts. There's some stuff that happens right away. There's some stuff that takes longer. But yeah, going into what Sandy said, there's in the documentary, The Secret, there's a lot of spiritual, religious, Christian-based thought leaders. And I don't know all the scriptures or where to quote it, but like in the Bible, for example, there's the law of attraction is in there. They don't call it the law of attraction, but it's about like speaking life over what you want or thinking about it or putting it out there and it comes back to you, or do unto others what you want done unto you, different things like that. So that's actually a really good point. Yeah, this is a part of spiritual belief system. It's not a standalone. It's a part of, I think, all pretty much spiritual belief systems.
Yeah. And I think too, you said something a few minutes ago that I didn't want to interrupt you. So trying to remember.
You're really good at that.
I'm amazing at that.
I'm working on it.
Yes. But it was something around, sometimes it's easy to focus on all the things you don't have, right? We all get stuck in that sometimes, and it feels like you're so far from where you want to be. But I was talking to someone the other day about gratitude, and she said every day, like she wrote a list of 5 things a day she was grateful for, but she's like, I just find myself always writing the same thing. Like, I'm grateful for like the sunshine. I'm grateful for my house. I'm grateful for my clothes. I'm grateful for, like, it was very like just getting it done to get it done. And I'm like, I challenge you, instead of writing out just 5 one-word things, I challenge you to write a paragraph about something super specific. Like the fact that you can hear me right now talking to you. Like you could go on and on about hearing all the things you've heard in your life, like being able to hear loved ones' voices, being able to hear music, being able to, like, all those gifts, right? Or the fact that we're making eye contact right now, the fact that you have vision. There are people that are born without vision, or people that lose their vision at some point in their life. Like, be grateful for the fact that we're able to spend time together, right? I feel like the pandemic really shook us up and really brought us back to the basics of, like, gosh, it's so precious to be able to spend time with people, right? So sometimes when you're thinking about what to be grateful for or whatever, it can feel like, well, I don't have this, and I don't live in my dream home, and I'm driving this piece of shit car, and I am in debt, and blah, blah, blah. Okay, no. The fact that you can, the fact that you have air and you don't need to worry about where your next breath is coming from is a gift. There's people that will not be breathing anymore in the next 60 seconds, but you still are. So being so grateful for that, being grateful for the things that you do have, the people that you do have, the experiences that you have had, even if they were super challenging, they molded you into who you are and who you're becoming and who you will be for other people. You're a teacher, you're a guide, and you are those things because of where you've been. So I think really getting into the nitty gritty of what you're grateful for will help a lot as you're becoming more and more aware of your thoughts, because you might find that you're spending more time focusing on what you don't have versus all the things that you do have.
Mind your mind, the law of attraction. So to sum it up, put out into the world, radiate into the world what you want to receive back. And that at the end of the day, that's it. Just start to be the person, start to be joy and happiness and that good energy, and you will receive that back. Thanks for hanging out with us today.
Ta-ta.
Ta-ta.
Only those that can see the invisible can do the impossible.
So remember, you are magnetic.